Okay, welcome back. All right, hopefully everybody's been doing good, living life, having fun, making things happen. We've been doing pretty good. We've been doing pretty good on most things with a few negative Nancy's. So, starting with health and fitness, gym is still going good, still on 4-day schedule. Diet is pretty much the same. I don't know if I talked about this already, but I did take the yolk out of my eggs for my egg shake, which I think was pretty necessary. A lot of cholesterol, a lot of extra fat, and I've taken that out, and it's like literally half the volume when I have my shake. There's like so much less in it, and it's so much less filling. You know, it's like probably 40% less calories, which is also probably a good thing. I'm sure that slam to my blood sugar wasn't great. But yeah, I think that's a good improvement overall. I've already noticed some changes. I feel a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, a little bit leaner as well, which is probably both from the fat and consuming slightly less calories. So that's good. The running is not great. Not gonna lie, not exactly where I would like it to be. I've been slacking a little bit, but I still have time before the marathon to get into shape, so it'll be okay. I'm not super worried about it, but I do have to get on it more. I've been, just skipping days and not pushing as hard as I'd like. It's just hard, dude. It's just hard and it sucks, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm not too concerned at this point. Really haven't been drinking at all, even like when I'm not drinking, I still like to have a couple cocktails, but, and by that I mean like I'll have like a whiskey soda every once in a while, but lately I just haven't been interested as much. I'm more concerned about all the ramifications to my health, and it's just not what I want to do right now. I'm not necessarily like quitting or anything like that, but just at the moment, I'd rather not. There's no downside to that really, to not drinking as much, right? So, it is what it is for now. Still haven't been consuming nicotine, so that's good. Yeah, I think it's definitely a big improvement to my overall state of being and stability, both emotionally and just overall. Like the thing about nicotine is that it's so, I don't want to say demanding, but it captures a lot more of my conscious attention than I would like it to, and more than it seems to. But when I really chase the threads in my mind, both when using nicotine and when coming off nicotine, it runs pretty deep. And that's not great, which is interesting because there are some people, namely like Peter Attia and Alex Hormozy, that advocate its use for work periods. I just don't believe them. I don't believe it. And I wanted to, obviously, if I can use nicotine for some benefit, I think that, sick, let me do that. But I tried it and it's so much better to just not engage in it. And both of those guys, this could be unrelated, but both of those guys, when I listen to them talk, they have that same monotone seriousness that even when they're joking, it's the delivery of their thoughts is very similar to mine when I am using nicotine, where you just feel kind of dull when you're not consuming it. Right? Which makes sense. Chemically, you're at a lower point than when using nicotine. And like I said, that might be a bit of a stretch, but whatever. For me, it's definitely just better to not engage at all. I can have a cigar every once in a while and it's fine, but even that, if I really pay attention, I'm going to notice some sort of effect. But, transiently. It's not like it's a huge deal. In other news, the garden's going good. I want to say a couple weeks ago, I was like, I want to take care of this garden. You know what I mean? I just got to empty all the pots out and get all the soil in one place and clean everything up outside on the balcony. And I had a bunch of seeds, so let me start planting things again. And it's going good. I'll have a video on it probably pretty soon. Planted a bunch of peppers, a bunch of whatever. I'll say more in the video. But everything's growing, everything's going pretty good. It's so much more exciting to see plants living and thriving than it is to look outside and see a bunch of dead shit, right? Because I feel bad because I killed everything, and plus just having the greenery around is very fulfilling and very nourishing in some way. And I don't really know why, but it is. It's so nice to just have these things living around me. And I had this big snake plant that was just overgrown in its pot, and I took it all apart and separated it into different bins and got rid of all the dead stuff, and now all that stuff is doing really well. There's a lot of new growth, so that's pretty sweet as well. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff that I had going on, but I'll cover that in a video soon, I think. But it's nice. It is nice. The studying has also been kind of off and on, but like consistent enough that I'm happy with the beginnings of a new thing. You know, like I always kind of talk about, like if I start something new and it doesn't, you know, I'm not perfect at it right away, like I'm not going to be upset about it. And I know that over time, just by continuing to bring my attention back to that, it always ends up taking anyways. You know, it's like the reading. It took a while for it to stick, but now I read as a habit. It is just part of my life now and has been for a long time. So I'm not upset. And plus, I was studying prehistory, which, yeah, there's some stuff there, but it's not really the meat and potatoes of what I'm interested in and where I want to get to. And to be honest, like, neither is the next phase, like early civilization, which I am excited for, but I really just want to get to the last 200 years. Like, that's the period that I really want to get to, but obviously I'm kind of far from that. And I don't want to rush through just to get there. You know, I want to take my time either way. Like I said, I did do a month of this, and now it's switched over, so we're going to be moving on into like Egypt and Mesopotamia and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to, especially American history. Like, that's really what I want to get to, and then maybe I can kind of bounce around a little bit. But so far, we're just going to go forward in time and study major periods and major civilizations and their changes and technological advancements and stuff like that. I don't really have a total plan on how I'm going to divide it month to month. Like, I know where I'm going next, but I'm not really sure where I'm going to go after that. But I can imagine it's not going to be too difficult to figure out. But it is interesting. It's cool to like take notes and make connections and like really dive into us as a species and look at how we became what we are today and what big advancements changed us, and in turn how we changed everything around us. I think it's really interesting, and I think that it also helps bring back the perspective that we are just animals. You know, I think that humans have this tendency to think of ourselves as something else, something separate from nature, something different than everything around us. But in reality, we are just apes that succeeded. And so I think that kind of lends a certain perspective to what's going on around us, and it allows me to kind of think differently about us and kind of detach from my experience day to day and look at things from a macroscopic lens instead of being so consumed by what is happening, you know, when I go to work and when I drive to the gas station and yada, 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 problems and successes and little things here and there. And those things are important, right? It's still my life and my reality, but at the same time, it's also important to have a balanced perspective. It's easy to get caught up in the moment in whatever turmoil is happening here or abroad. But it's interesting to take a step back and just see that things happen over long periods of time, and things shift and change, and no individual during any of these time periods I'm referring to right now, prehistory, these major changes in civilization, no one person was ever aware of what was occurring. And so, you know, they were just living their life, gathering fruits and berries and, you know, planting crops and, you know what I mean, populating. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to detach, and also the process of becoming more educated is pretty endlessly fulfilling. So I look forward to continue studying history and expanding into other topics as well, because there's plenty of things that I want to know about. And I think now that I've had the garden going, that's also going to be a field of study, because I was just talking about the other day that I could probably spend the rest of my life doing nothing but fucking with plants, and I'd be like sick, you know what I mean? I'd be having a good time. It's just like so much fun. There's just so much. It's such an entire world of its own that I really don't get tired of it. But obviously I have other shit to do, so I can't just sit and do that all the time. But point being is I'd like to make it a dedicated period in my day of studying plants. And not just plants, but agriculture in general, and the history of agriculture, and the care of plants and the needs, and you know, just really dive deep into it. I think that would be really interesting. But we'll see. You know what I mean? Like, I just started integrating real intensive bouts of study, and I've had it off and on in the past, and this is not necessarily a new thing, but this is the level that I'm trying to take it to is new. So I don't want to pile too much on at the same time. As far as project be an adult and keeping the house clean is going, pretty good actually. Almost every day, especially the days that I have off of work and I'm just hanging out here, getting this place a lot cleaner and more organized and more efficient and just set up to be more user-friendly and camera-friendly, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, that's what kind of spurred the massive push, was that, like, man, dude, if I fucking film my house, I got like 3 gas cans in the middle of the living room right now. That's not really sightly. But also just making it easier to use things and making things more organized so I know where things go and where they are and systems and everything's clean and neat. It's just some part of my brain gets to take a break when I get things done like that. So that's a constant process, but it's going pretty good. This place is the cleanest place that I've lived in and the most organized. And I think that I've just had this mindset since I was very young that no place is stable. And so there's a finite amount of roots that I can grow, meaning there's a level of organization and settling in that I refuse to reach, because I know that where I am is not stable and it's not permanent. And that's not great, but it's also true. I don't plan on staying here forever. I don't plan on staying in the next place that I go forever. So while that may not be the best trait that I've developed since childhood, it's working fine so far. But at the same time, I want more organization, more flow in the places that I exist, because it gets annoying to just have shit in random places. And like the hot spots in my home have always been organized, but like the deeper crevices, like the spice cabinet and like closets that don't really get used, like under the sink, these kind of places have yet to be really organized and optimized. The pots and pans, they're just kind of in there, but there could definitely be a system that could take place that would not make the transition from here to the next place more difficult. It's a process, though. It's a process, but it's going good, and things are happening more and more. And it does, like I said, free up part of my brain for other activities, that I don't have some subconscious nagging that's tugging me in the direction of like, hey, the spices are everywhere, dude. Just put them away in a dedicated fashion. They're just on the shelf, but maybe there is a way you can organize it so you can see everything at one time, right? Also, I'm slowly trying to keep more active projects, because something that I've noticed that I do, this might be a fat episode, by the way, because I haven't been on here in a minute. I'll try and trim out the excess and just keep the fundamentals, but whatever. These are ultimately more for me than anybody else, so it is what it is. But I've been trying to keep more active projects, because what I normally do is I find something that I like the plants, and then I do that like hardcore for a couple weeks, and then I lay off of it. But I've been trying to like slow the integration and extend the lifespan of my interest in that thing, just so that I can keep more things active that take up less space, So it's like the mead. I touch in with that periodically, but it doesn't really require all of my attention. The plants, I can keep those going, and I can, they require my attention, obviously, but not a ton. I don't have to spend an hour a day messing with plants. And YouTube, and I mean that's kind of different, but the studying and the reading and entertainment and all these kinds of things. I just want to slowly integrate more and more projects so that I always kind of have something to do, because that's, like they say, idle hands are the devil's playthings. And that's definitely true. When I get bored and I'm like, man, I don't really have anything, not only do I not have anything that I want to do, I don't really have anything that I need to do. That's just such a boring way to live. Like, it's such a pointless existence, right? So I'd rather have things that like I'm interested in, that I'm constantly doing. I've integrated more and more over time, but now it's kind of like a conscious effort of like, okay, I want more shit going on that is not me fucking around, that is not me playing Xbox for several hours because I don't have anything to do. That is not me just watching a movie because I don't have anything else going on. It's not me just watching videos on my phone or reading endlessly just because I have nothing to do. You know, if that's what I want to do, that's fine, but, you know, I want to have plenty of things that I'm excited about so that I always have some activity that is entertaining and interesting for me and stimulating in some way, in a positive manner. You know, and that's part of the thing that has kind of kept me away from vices like drinking or nicotine use or whatever, because it's like, yeah, but then I can't do this other stuff, you know, because I know as soon as I have a drink, it's not going to be work time, and anything that requires real effort is less fun or is less intellectually engaging, right? Like it's a different kind of fun. Like drunk cooking is great, right? There's plenty of things that drinking is fun to do with, but as far as like the majority of my days, I don't want to engage in those kind of behaviors really at any point, because these other things are so much more rewarding. A shift that we're gradually making. You know, I don't want to feel bad either, but also I'm moving more and more away from video games. It's just, I don't know. I think that like I'm just continuously gaining clarity on how I feel about playing video games. And in the past, I didn't, you know, there was a time where I took like a really long break. I want to say like a year or so, like at least 6 months from playing at all. But that was more because like I felt bad that I was doing that and not doing anything else with my time, even though I knew there was things that I had to do with my time that I wanted to do to elevate my life to the next level. Which I don't think, it was more fear-based than anything. It was like, oh, like, ooh, I feel bad that I'm doing this. And I don't really agree with that now. And then it was kind of like, okay, but it is a useful exercise to de-stress and especially to socialize, to engage in low-stakes play and connect with my friends that I don't get to see very often. And it's not like I call these motherfuckers to talk, you know? I'm not saying that I couldn't do that, but it's just not something that we've negotiated recently. It's happened in the past, and sometimes it still happens, but it's not a regular occurrence. And so playing Xbox has been the most efficient way to engage with my friends in some way. But it seems less and less rewarding. It feels more and more like there are some moments, of course, where I am having a really good time, and sometimes entire segments of play, of however long I'm on there, I'm having a good time. But it like, now that I'm really paying attention to how I spend my time and what I'm doing and how I am engaged in what I'm doing and how that engages me in specific ways, it just seems like most of the time it's just right? It's not like that great. And then sometimes it is great. Other than like the actual fun times, it just seems like a time passer and a time waster. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I'd almost rather be just doing nothing in my own home, chilling, than doing this. I don't know. It's just been less fun. It's been less fun, and I've been starting to see it more as almost like a nicotine thing. Like I'm digging around in there for some nugget of pleasure that doesn't come very often. You know, like the times that are fun, as in like I'm truly lost in the moment, present and engaged and having a genuinely good time, seem to be more rare, significantly more rare than the times that I'm just like going through the motions. Just playing to play and not really having it's not that I'm like having a shitty time. It's just that like I'm not having a good enough time to warrant spending hours looking for that good time. Does that make sense? You know, like instead of, oh, I'm gonna play video games and I immediately am having fun, it's like it can be fun, but it's not always. You know, and part of that is dependent on the people that I'm playing with, but part of it's just me as well. Like, I'm just like, it's just not engaging. It's just not fun. It's just, I don't know. This activity that I'm doing is missing something. It is missing some level of engagement for me. And I don't know what that is, and I don't know what the answer is, or, you know, if that just is what it is or where I'm at currently. But it is just not checking all the boxes for me. And so, you know, I've been taking more breaks and honestly like having a good time not playing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. But long story short, my opinions and feelings surrounding video games are changing in a way that includes less of a draw to do that thing. And I don't fully understand why, but I'm not upset about it and think that I'm just going to let it ride for now. And while I would like to engage with the people that exist on there, I think that I might want to do it in a different way. But I also don't know what that is. You know, I haven't given it any serious thought, but the times they are changing, and I'm moving somewhere else away from that area of entertainment. But we'll see. We'll think about it. I'll think about it and we'll get back to it later. Yeah, I think we're going to leave it off there. I think we're going to cut that bad boy. But anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I will keep you updated on all the ongoings around these parts. Until next time. Later.